Okay, before I forget about this little ongoing saga about the place that was calling me, I think it was the last video or two, about this appointment I was going to have, well, scheduled to have last month, January. And some of it just wasn't right. Like, they told me they were going to do this procedure. They were going to have this procedure run again. Well, it's not exactly their department to run a procedure, to run that procedure that I would think. And I mean, it's somewhat connected. I mean, it is connected. They were the ones that gave me the referral. I mean, the people who gave me the referral are the ones that ran it before. And they told me, they called me and, before my appointment to remind me of the appointment, this kind of thing, and told me that they were going to run this procedure, have it run again. Well, it wasn't even a year that since I did the procedure. And I'd already been, I don't know what you would call it, told by somebody last year around September, October, from their corporate office of the insurance company, which they're connected. And it's all a big group or whatever you want to call it. And they had told me that my doctors were doing wrong. They were running tests and stuff, I guess procedures and all that, too close together, and that usually this one is only once a year, or that one is only once, twice a year maximum, whatever it was. So I got kind of, if somebody from their either corporate office or a new location, I kind of felt like I was being a pawn in their game, because it seemed like one area has it against another, basically county, but they're like 2.5 hours apart. From where I am, it's about 2.5 hours. Anyway, it's a whole like drama going on back there. I say back there because behind the scenes for me. And anyway, so this place had called me last month, before my appointment to remind me or whatever it was. I don't remember the details. I have a problem already with being really sleepy a lot and living in like a fog, which Tuesday I'm supposed to either start the medication or the doctor will order the medication for my rare health condition. Finally, I've had it since I was 10. I'm 62. It's about time they have something that can help me. Hopefully it does help me with all of these health problems associated to it. Apparently that's one of them. And I never knew that before. So until recently, it just makes me very tired, very, very tired. And so anyway, a lot is going to change once I start taking this medication, hopefully, for the better. One of them that they were going to put me on was a new drug that was being tested, and it said it could cause sudden death. No, you're not testing. I'm not a guinea pig. No. So this other one has been out for, I think, at least 10 to 15 years. I don't remember. But anyway, so these people that had called me and said that they were going to run that procedure again, and I'm like, what? But I don't know what happened during that call. Maybe I was in a hurry. I don't remember. I just don't remember. It was just kind of surprising to me that they called, because my account, in my portal, I had to set it up. It took 3 times, once to set it up, and then a woman I called to schedule. She deleted my portal, so I had to call back, and the help desk, they fixed it. Guy fixed it and said, who told you that? You should never have to call the doctor's office and tell them that you're on a do not call, that you're only supposed to go through the portal, because they had that right there. I said, the first guy told me that, the first help desk. I said, no, you don't do that. Okay, come on, let's be suspicious here. Yes, he did, period. Okay, and so the next one told me no, and then there it is. He set it up, made sure, it's no emails, no texts, no phone calls. It's only goes through the portal. Well, I had to call again because after that one, these people called me again. Okay, now they called me that one time, and I set it up, but then I rescheduled it. I think it was reschedule the appointment. Well, they called me again before this one, and I don't remember the first young woman. I think she said, well, you need to talk to so and so, because I may have asked something about that. Why did they tell me that I needed to have that procedure run all over again? She said, well, I wasn't the one. Here's the one. And then that one said, yes, I was the one that spoke to you before. And she said she sounded kind of like she was on energy drinks, just bouncing off the wall. And she kept talking over me. She would refuse to stop talking. Okay, she just keep talking. And at some point I got ticked off. I said, you are not listening to me, or something like that. You need to listen. Now I kept saying, let me finish my sentence. Because I was getting ticked, man. And she needed somebody to tell her, no, you don't talk over people like that. And she just kept doing it. She kept, like I said, like she was on energy drinks and had way too many. And she goes, well, what do you want to do? Talk to my manager? That whole manager? And like I say, they try to act like a combination between Valley Girl and some of them like royalty. And they blend it together. To me, it sounds like stupid. But no, it does. It really does. It's smacks of like they think that they have that they're superior to all, when they're not being superior at all. Okay, and I don't play the totem pole game. I don't play the hierarchy game. None of that. So, and as it is, patients, no matter who is the patient, they're always on top of any totem pole any of them try to erect. Okay, period. The patient is patient-centered care. It's about the patient. It's not about the doctors. It's not about their egos, the people that work there. No, it's about the patient. And anyway, so they connected me to that woman who was bouncing off the wall. You want to talk to the manager? But what she was trying to do also was to get me to, because she was talking that I have a deductible, which I didn't know. I mean, I really don't know, because, they changed it this year and all. And it's the same insurance, same, plan and all, but just things had changed. And it was more expensive, for one. And to go back, I had always had a deductible, from what I understand. And I paid it when, like, I'd go to the hospital, and that would get paid, because it was like $200 anytime you went to the hospital. You pay up front. And so, okay, whatever. But then she just tell me you have a deductible. And I had told her, I said, I know how to pay through the portal. And I do, because that's how I pay, through the portal. Okay, and she was still trying, and she was bouncing. I said, you need to let me even finish my sentences. And so anyway, she just kept doing that. And then she said that about, you want to speak to my manager? You could just see her lips curl up, It's so disgusting. I said, yeah, actually, that'd be good. The manager was just as bad, which had me, and not exactly, because I know that they, these people tend to work together, and they are, of course they work together, and they tend to take up for them. They're never going to admit that they're wrong. This is what I have seen mostly in my lifetime. The manager is not going to admit that her employee was wrong anymore. And it used to be that if an employee did wrong, the employee did wrong. Okay, and the manager would say the employee did wrong and apologize for it. No, not anymore. So she went off, and she kept trying to, I said, no. I don't let them just put me under, not even on the bottom of the totem pole, but underneath it. No. And I let her know. And she did not like it. Because she's a manager. Let me try and see if I can do it. The manager. But I can't do it like they do it. And I worked in it when I was a career student at university, undergraduate and graduate. And I worked as interim office manager and manager. And I would get the accent every once in a while. The little, I don't call it an accent. Well, I guess in a way. It was so easy to pick up because so many of them did that. So, I mean, most often they did. And I can remember the attitudes, maybe even that whole thing since I was a child. Okay. Anyway, so this manager, she told me, I said, why are y'all calling me anyway? Mine is do not call. And I said, so you should not be calling me at all. And she said, she was looking, and she said, actually what it says is the patient prefers, you see, she said it like that, prefers that to not call. Like I said, I've said it on this video before, I think, that I called and verified, and the next person I verified it with, it was 3. She said no, said no. It says do not call, period. So I was suspicious. I mean, it was very suspicious, and I have plenty of reasons. And when I am suspicious of things, I'm just not like a conspiracy theorist. I really, if I'm going to be suspicious of something, there's going to be cause. Okay, there will be a cause. And so this one, I know that they don't call. That company, they don't call to get money. You go through the portal, for any of your visits. Well, I switched to ones that are, back to one that was in network, but not part of their group or whatever. There's the insurance company, then they have all these hospitals and doctors and nurses and all this stuff that's within them. It's common around here in this part of Texas, or in Texas, period. But I didn't know that. But anyway, I went back to one that was just in network. She doesn't work for them. She's just in network. And I think I appreciate going back to a female, because most of mine are male. And the males, the ones I have, unfortunately, are very stereotypical of old-fashioned males. They tell me, and I mind them. No, I don't mind anybody. Period. This patient-centered, not your ego-centered. So I told one flat out. He was a young guy, and he thought he was going to tell me what's going to happen. 2 of them did that. 2 young guys. One I just fired, walked out, left. When it was over, just did not acknowledge any of what he was saying. And as I was leaving, they were rescheduling people's appointments, the front desk. I dodged a bullet there, because that whole rescheduling, I was 60 years old before anybody had ever rescheduled an appointment with me on anything, not just doctors, anything that I can remember, never having an appointment rescheduled, never in my life until I was 60, and it was through them. So anyway, so that manager did that. I switched back to a different doctor I had before, and a nurse, or I don't know what you would call her. First it was the MA, then it was the doctor, and after the doctor, each one of these left, then, like the MA left, the doctor comes in, the doctor leaves, this other woman comes in, and she is the one that's going to, gives me back my driver's license and my insurance card, and she talks to me about what happened, and she prints out, I did not know they did this, she printed out, what was done and all that, and she said, I said, we talked about money. There's something that she says, you don't owe anything. I said, really? I said, I thought I had a deductible of $1,700. And I think Adam's moving around out there. I don't know. Through my window I see him. But she said, no, you don't have any deductible. I said, really? I'm looking at it. She said, this is really good insurance. I said, yeah, I know it's pretty good. But I always thought I had a deductible. She said, no, you have none. She said, I'm reading it right here. No deductible, no out of pocket, none of that. It's like, wow, okay. I guess that's what changed. It went up and then that changed. Okay, sounds good to me. And so it wasn't until after I left there, or maybe it was then, but definitely once Adam and I went to get something to eat, and I said, now it dawned on me, because I hadn't eaten at all, and I had been fasting, of course, and it was over 8 hours, and plus I was dehydrated, as it turns out. It seems I was dehydrated because I wasn't drinking anything, but a little bit of water. So anyway, we went and got something to eat, and we were real hungry, real starving, both of us. He hadn't eaten either. And I'm sitting there going, it starts dawning on me. And ever since then, that person that called, the one that was so rude and talking over me, trying to get money, she's telling me I had a deductible. So she was trying to get the money, me to give it to them, instead it goes to the portal. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I had a good, I didn't know that at the time, but it was off to me. I had a good reason, good cause to be suspicious because they never call. It's always done through the portal. Nobody's ever called me saying I need to give them money over the phone, like a credit card or something. She didn't get that far because I stopped her and said, I know how to pay through the portal. And that's what I do. They have my credit card online, and I go right through the portal. Don't bother with all this, people calling me stuff, because nobody ever has. I've had plenty of appointments. So yeah, that was very suspicious. And now, like I said, after that, in the doctor's office, and the new doctor, going back to the other doctor's office, and the woman told me I don't have any to pay anything. Yeah, how could that, you think about it, it's people who have to be working there. Or somehow, however else would they know? They have to be working for that corporate, that insurance group at that whole place. They have to be working there, but they're doing this on the side, unless somehow they have gotten the information. And it's weird also because their phone, the whole phone system is messed up. I call it for that purpose. I'm leaving it out purposefully, but it will talk about something else. The automated message says, if you want to go to this place, if you want to speak to someone in this department, or if you want to speak to someone in that department, well, none of those are what I am calling for. And I have reported that to them more than once. I said, they're going to fix it. See how suspicious it is? Somehow, some way, have they... What? How could they know? How could they actually know somebody was going to have that? And I got it through a referral. You see, maybe that's where it all goes bad. Is that the people who knows? What can you even think? The most bizarre thing would be conspiracy theory, saying, well, they're going to call the place who's giving the referral, calls them and lets them know, and then maybe that when they're calling them, it's actually been hijacked or something. I don't know. That they no longer have that phone number and they don't know it. That the phone number they're giving me is wrong, or the phone number they're calling, it wouldn't be giving me, it would be calling them calling them. It's wrong, and people are using it to make money. Who knows? That sounds way too bizarre, really. But how else would they know? Or do they work for them and they're doing this on the side, stealing people's Credit card numbers? What? I mean, I don't know that they're going to be stealing them, but they never call. And now I'm being told that I don't have a deductible. By someone who's sitting there, I mean, she has every reason to collect from me. She's in the doctor's office. We're sitting in the doctor's, in my room that the doctor just left from. The patient room. So she wouldn't lie to me that I don't need to pay her anything. She's looking right at it at the computer. So yeah, we're sitting right there. So something was off with that. I just wanted to give an update though.